So you may have heard that we're having some wild weather, and it's true. It is true. And our local our meteorologist on TV, his name is James Spann. He's really great. You ought to look him up sometimes. He says on a scale of 1 to 5, this event is at least a 5. And we're expecting multiple tornadoes and things of that nature. It's a Saturday afternoon. What is today, the 14th or 15th of March? And Marina and I were talking and decided that a mobile home in Alabama is not probably where you want to be in an event such as that. I mean, the wind is already whipping like crazy. So we decided to come and get a hotel, which are built out of concrete, far as I know. And so that's what we've done. We're checking in now. We're about 10, 12 miles from our house around Birmingham. And this is our home for the night. So prayers up for everybody. Hope everybody is safe. I know that this thing is, I read earlier that 3 people lost their lives, I believe, in Missouri already in this system. This is a huge system. Just huge. And I don't think any state in the union's got anything on Alabama as far as tornadoes go. We have a lot of tornadoes, especially it seems like this time of year, March and April and whatnot. We've been through this before, and it's nothing to play with. And let me see, you can see the sky around me. It's really unstable. It's really windy. And but it's about 3 in the afternoon, and the worst of it is supposed to be from about now until around midnight. They're saying it's not too bad right now, but you can just kind of feel it, you know. And there's already reports of tornadoes in Alabama now to our west. But we're not going to play. We're just going to hunker down in the hotel room and ride this thing out, and hopefully everything will be as we left it when we get back home tomorrow. So I'll check in later. And that's the way it was last Saturday. Today is Tuesday morning. We had some rough weather over the weekend. It was here in the South and it was in the Midwest. And there was a lot of carnage. I don't know, I think maybe Missouri got the brunt of it. I'm not sure. We had, I know that we had 2 people that lost their lives in this storm here in Alabama. But we were getting reports from the meteorologist that we watch here in Alabama locally. His name is James Spann, Spann. Check him out. He's really good. But he was saying on a scale of 1 to 5, this was at least a 5 in terms of severity, with expected tornadoes and high winds and heavy rains and things of that nature. And as you probably know, Marina and I live in a mobile home, and he said, if you're in a mobile home, get out. And we don't play around. So Saturday, the storms were projected to come in that afternoon and into midnight. So we left and went to that hotel, as you saw in that little clip there, and we rode the thing out that night and left the next day. And when we returned home, there wasn't a limb down. There was nothing. All that we really had in this area was just a lot of rain and a lot of high wind, a lot of lightning. Elsewhere in the state didn't fare as well. And I know there was a lot of damage in Mississippi and in other places, but we turned out okay. But safety first, folks. We don't play around with tornadoes. Alabama is, I don't know if we get more tornadoes than anybody. If we're not at the top of the list, we got to be top 3. I mean, we get our share of tornadoes in this state. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the topography. I don't know, but we have had a lot of tornadoes ever since I've lived here, since 2006. We had a really bad one pass through in 2011. It started in Tuscaloosa. This thing was a monster F5 tornado that just cut a swath from Tuscaloosa north to Birmingham and then over into Georgia. Killed a lot of people, wreaked a lot of havoc, and our home wasn't damaged in it, but a lot of lives were lost that day. That was in April, I believe it was the 27th of 2011. So many horror stories came out of that terrible storm, and you heard just, these freakish things like a church hymnal from Tuscaloosa was found in somebody's yard over in Georgia. Things of that nature. So tornadoes are nothing to play with. You don't get a lot of notice, not like with a hurricane, but I don't play with them. But things are well, and we survived. But we're in that season. Could happen again. Hope it doesn't. But all we really got was a lot of rain. It was the final result. So we are fine. We have a visitor to our house. I'm going to put in a little photo right here. Let me put in a photo right here. Got that, editor? Okay. This is an illegal alien who has taken residence on our deck. Kiki is none too thrilled with this development, and neither am I for that matter. But I don't know where this cat came from. Marina calls her Ginger. She's a long hair. Because of my allergies, it's bad enough having Kiki in the house, but this one's not going to stick around. We're doing everything we can to find out who the owner is. She doesn't have a collar or anything. But she's not hurting anything. She doesn't destroy the property or anything, but we're just not set up for yet another feline. I don't know what it is. We live out in the wild kingdom out here. So anyway, if you're in the market for a cat, just let me know. Okay, I've got some notes, and I just picked up the wrong set of notes, so I'm going to have to... Will you pardon me just one moment? Quiet on the set. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'm right here. This is live TV, folks. Picked up the wrong set of notes. All right, let's take a gander at what's going on in the news here on Tuesday. What is this, March, I believe, 18th? The day after St. Patrick's Day. Tuesday morning, Trump and Putin are apparently going to have a little tele conversation sometime today. It may be as I'm filming this here on Tuesday morning. I read at one report, I've been reading a lot of reports on this. One report stated that Putin was keeping Trump waiting. I don't know if that's advisable or not, Vlad. But this is significant, and I think it's very good, of course, as I've been saying, that we are talking. Trump, of course, is the king of the deal makers. But, I don't know what's going to come of this. Trump just wants the fighting to stop, as do I. Putin has not really agreed to the proposed ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Putin is undoubtedly looking for some concessions, which, of course, Trump could deliver on because, as I've stated, this is a war, a proxy war, a war for all intents and purposes between the United States and Russia. Utterly, completely unnecessary. I think what Putin is looking for is some concessions, particularly with regard to lands that Russia has already basically won in the war. And I think that for this thing to end, Trump is going to have to agree to some of this. And I'm thinking specifically of Crimea, which Russia pretty much controls now. Putin's not going to give Crimea up. And I think that's going to be, there's two sticking points. There's three sticking points on which I don't think Putin is going to budge. One is Crimea. One is he's going to tell Trump that he's got to recognize that Crimea belongs to Russia, which it does. That's one sticking point. The other sticking point is I believe that Putin is going to tell Trump that he has got to stop sending weapon systems to Ukraine. That's got to stop. From Putin's perspective, I think Trump is going to have to agree to that. And the third thing, of course, and I don't think this is going to be a sticking point. Putin is going to demand or going to stipulate that the talk of Ukraine coming into NATO has got to end right now, once and for all. I don't think that's going to be a sticking point. I think Trump will absolutely agree to that. He's indicated that in the past anyway. There's no reason for Ukraine to be in NATO. That is a deal breaker from Putin's perspective. And of course, Putin's been lied to by previous presidents such as Clinton and Bush and on it goes, who always told him that there would be no eastward expansion from NATO and Ukraine would not be brought into NATO. And those promises have been broken repeatedly. Of course, now he's dealing with Trump. And if Trump tells him that there's no way that Ukraine is going to come into NATO, then Putin may simply say, I need that in writing or whatever. But I think, to my mind, these are the 3 points where Putin is going to want Trump to agree. As far as sanctions go, I have stated, folks, repeatedly that Putin holds all the cards here, and he does. And I have read repeatedly on different sites that if things don't go Trump's way, that Trump is prepared to slap even more sanctions on Russia. I don't think that's going to affect Putin whatsoever. I don't think Putin really cares about that all that much. We have been sanctioning them to death already, and apparently I don't think the sanctions have had that much of an effect on Russia, from all I can tell. So again, that just tells me that Putin has the cards, and I believe that this is going to come down to Putin saying, this has got to happen, this has got to happen, and this has got to happen. And Trump's going to have to agree with it. Now, from Trump's perspective, of course, Trump wants to save face. Trump wants credit for ending the war. And of course, there's always going to be a faction of people saying that Trump is Putin's puppet if the war ends and Trump meets Putin's demands. But that's just the risk that Trump is taking. I think that more than anything, Trump wants to be known as the president who ended the war. But I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm speculating as to what Putin's demands are going to be or his conditions are going to be. And I think it's fairly certain that it's going to be at least those 3 things. Now, what he has to give to Trump in return, I don't know. But we'll see how it goes. He may have to give in terms of perhaps participation with BRICS. I don't know. We'll see. From Trump's perspective, I think he's going to have to get some kind of concession from Putin. I just don't know what that might be. But here's hoping that this phone call is productive. Here's hoping that it leads to perhaps a face-to-face meeting where they can sign documents that ends the war and shake hands and perhaps start building a relationship between the United States and Russia that is on friendly terms, that is on diplomatic terms, that are where we can finally agree that it benefits both of us to be on friendly terms with one another. It benefits both of us to be trading partners. There's a lot of people in the United States who profit off of Russia being our enemy. I think Trump is smart enough to understand that it's only a few people who profit from our hostile stance toward Russia. But by and large, it's best for America and Americans and Russians for us to be on friendly terms with one another. You don't have to love Putin. You don't even have to love Russia, but you would have to agree, it seems to me, that the world would be better off if America and Russia were on friendly terms with one another. Biden just pushed Putin into the arms of Xi in China, as far as I can tell, and that benefits certainly doesn't benefit the United States or the West whatsoever. All right, let me move on. We'll watch this and see what happens and pray that something good comes from that. Before I continue, some of you reached out to check on us with regard to the storms. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We are fine, and thanks for checking in on us. All right, as I speak, apparently 2 of our astronauts are en route back to Earth. Have you been following this? We've had astronauts up on the International Space Station, I believe for 9 months they've been up there, stuck, stranded, unable to come back home. Why is that? Why are they only now coming home? If you're following this, Elon Musk has sent one of his SpaceX rockets up to the ISS to pick up these stranded astronauts. Can you imagine being stranded on the International Space Station for 9 months? 9 months. That is a long time. I don't know if I could take it. Somebody said, would you rather be stranded on the International Space Station for 9 months or locked in a room with the girls from The View for 2 months? I think I'd take the space station. As hard as that would be, I'd have to take the space station. But the question I have is, why didn't Biden do this before? Elon Musk had the ability to blast off a rocket to the ISS and pick these people up months ago. Why did Biden not ask Musk to do this? Well, the answer should be fairly obvious. I believe it's absolutely clear that Biden left these people stranded on the ISS because the only person apparently who could go and get them was Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was involved in the campaign for Trump's re-election. And I believe that that was a deal breaker for Biden. Biden or whoever, or Jake Sullivan, or whoever was handling Biden at the time, they said, there's no way we're going to ask Musk to do this because, we are so opposed to Donald Trump in any way, and Musk has aligned himself with Donald Trump, so that's just not going to happen. So screw the people on the space station. We're not going to help them out. I believe that's exactly what happened. But they're coming home, and they should be splashing down in Florida, off the coast of Florida, sometime today. I am reading. And this is a big day. Guess what is happening? Trump floored me yesterday, folks, because I have been bellowing here for the last couple of weeks about Pam Bondi, who I've been disappointed in because I've been asking, as you know, where are the Epstein files, Pam Bondi? You've been in office now for over a month. Where are the files? Where are the names? Where are the JFK files, the RFK files, the MLK files? Where are they? Just release them. There was talk about turning the JFK files over to some other entity so they could go through them before releasing them. Well, Trump went to the Kennedy Center yesterday, which he has basically taken over, much to the chagrin of Caroline Kennedy, apparently, and the woke left. And Trump made the announcement that tomorrow, he said this yesterday, so today, he is releasing all of the JFK files. That's today, as I make this video. There are reportedly 80,000 pages of the Kennedy files to be released. Trump said unredacted. So we shall see. This is supposed to be the day. Trump said, I'm a man of my word. I said we're going to release them, and we're going to release them. So this is going to be interesting. By the time you see this video, I don't know if Mark Gruber's video will have aired yet, but today at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Mark Gruber and Eric Hunley are going to be talking about this over on their channel. It's called America's Untold Stories. If you're interested, Mark is going to be giving his 2 cents worth on the ramifications of the release of the JFK files. Now, of course, these were ordered to be released by the last JFK commission, Congressional Commission. They were ordered to be released in 1992. They were not. And, you know, the truth be known, folks, there's going to be a lot of embarrassing information in these files with regard to the involvement, undoubtedly, in my mind, of the CIA, of the Department of Defense, of Mexico, perhaps, should I say this or not? I'm going to go ahead and say it. Perhaps of Israel. There are people who make the case that Israel was involved in the JFK assassination. That's a series of shows right there. But you can do some reading, and if you dig into that, then you begin to understand the logic behind that. I'm not saying Israel was behind it. I am saying there are a lot of pundits out there who maintain that Israel was behind it. If you doubt that, of course, then you might want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on Israel with regard to the JFK assassination. You might want to look into the sinking of the USS Liberty by the state of Israel. That's undeniable that they did that. A lot of people just don't know about it, or a lot of people do know about it and apparently aren't all that upset about it. Did you know that the state of Israel sunk one of our ships with well over, what I believe, 300 Americans, 200 to 300 Americans on that ship, and they attacked an American ship in the 60s. Did you know that? So there you have it. So anyway, the files will be released today. I'm really interested to see what they tell us with regard to the JFK assassination. Okay, Donald Trump has deported 238 members of the Tren de Aragua gang to El Salvador. This happened in the last 2 to 3 days. He put them on a plane and flew them. These are members of the Tren de Aragua gang, 238 of them, who were in our nation illegally. Trump rounded them up, or Tom Homan, I guess, rounded them up and put them on a plane and sent them to El Salvador. Well, there was a federal court judge by the name of James Boasberg, Boasberg, who made a ruling, no, you can't do that. You can't send these gang members to El Salvador, President Trump. Another one of these activist, leftist, woke judges. This guy's got a rap sheet a mile long. I read it. You can look it up and find out more about Judge James Boasberg. But he says to Trump, he writes an order, no, you can't do that. You leave them in America. And Trump says, sorry, Judge, they're already in the air and we can't turn the plane around. The Babylon Bee had a great meme and story where they said federal judge orders the astronauts returned to the space station. Look, I've had it with these federal judges, these activist judges. Donald Trump is acting like a president ought to act, if you ask me. We haven't seen this in a long time. Marina pointed out to me yesterday, and she's right about this. You saw presidents begin to act differently after Watergate, and that's true, which was a big nothing burger, by the way. Donald Trump is coming back into office, acting as the executive he is, doing what obviously has to be done, and he's saying these gang members are here illegally, and they're leaving. And then you've got some district court judge who's acting all high and mighty like he trumps, no pun intended, the president of the United States. Well, I would say to the judge, why don't you just tend to your own biscuits, as we say? You are a district court judge. Why don't you tend to the affairs in your district? You can't lord your rulings all over the whole nation. In my view, Trump should just ignore him. Or he could just say to the judge, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And if you don't like it, instead of me appealing to the Supreme Court, you go to the Supreme Court and see what they, hey, is this ruling okay? Do you guys and gals think this is okay? Put the onus on the federal court judge, on the district court judge. Yeah, you go run your ruling by the Supreme Court and see what they say, and then we'll talk. Otherwise, you can't act like some little tin-horn dictator. And I don't know, I think this judge may be in Washington, but whether it's Washington or San Francisco or Portland or wherever, you got these left-wing woke activist judges acting like they're little dictators who are going to tell the president what he can and cannot do. No, I say no. Trump should just ignore him. Sorry, but the gang members are already in the air. So a judge is basically saying, a district court judge is saying, we can't deport illegal aliens. Can this simple-minded man in Alabama who has no formal legal education, I never went to law school, but I think it can be safely stated that illegal aliens, in my estimation, tell me if I'm wrong about this, do not get access to due process. Am I right about that? You are here illegally. You have already broken the law. And by virtue of the fact you've already broken the law, as far as I'm concerned, Tom Homan and Donald Trump are well within their bounds to kick you out of the country that you illegally entered. Or am I off base? No, I don't think I am. So that's what's going on, folks. Hey, make sure you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and comment down below if you would, please. I would appreciate that. We'll keep an eye on what's happening. Let's cross our fingers and hope we get good news from this phone call today between Trump and Putin. This is Trailer Trash Tim. I'll see you soon.